Hello. Welcome to Bear Attack the Podcast.
Yeah, welcome.
We are your hosts. My name is Tori Bear.
And my name is Josh Bear.
And we are so excited about the episode we have planned for you today. And we just first want to give a huge thank you to everyone who listened to us on Spotify last week for our debut podcast.
Yeah.
Our debut episode.
Yeah.
And who watched us on YouTube. For those of you who don't know, we both, this podcast is available on both channels.
Yeah.
Spotify and YouTube. So
it should be available on Apple as well.
Oh, also Apple.
And Overcast, is that?
I think so.
Is that what it's called?
If Anchor is doing its job. I don't have Overcast. I think it's like an app or like a website.
I think it's associated with Apple.
Then that's perfect. So, okay, yeah, great. Check it out. Just Google us. No, not really. But
not that big yet.
No, not that big. Nothing will come up.
Yeah.
Nothing related to us, at least.
No.
But you can follow me my Instagram at the Bear Necessities.
Mm-hmm.
Bear again is spelled BAIR.
Of course.
And we'll have updates there as well if you need links to anything.
Did you see the name of the podcast?
Yeah. Oh wait.
I guess if they're listening to this, they know the name of the podcast.
I said in the beginning.
I believe you.
Bear
I do
Attack
believe you.
Podcast.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
I believe you though.
There's a lot of things we're learning about a podcast. Like last week, we didn't introduce ourselves. We didn't say our names. And at the end, I had just realized. So we wanted to make sure we got our names in, but at risk of not saying the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
So in case I didn't, we are the Bear Attack Podcast.
Yeah.
Bear is spelled BAIR because that's our last names.
That's right.
So all that to say, thank you to everyone.
Yes. Thank you for the support. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to start off this episode. Well, we want to start off this episode because last week we kind of danced around Josh's health scare that he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, obviously he's okay. But we promised everyone that we would talk about it in this episode.
Yeah.
So let's just start off with that. What happened?
So yeah, we talked like you said, briefly about it last week, and we kept kind of saying like, it's too long of a story. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly.
And we didn't say what it was exactly.
No, the podcast would have been like 2.5 hours long if we kind of got into it.
I'll try to be succinct.
There is a way to say it succinctly.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's like I'll give a little bit of backstory. So, my family on my dad's side has a bit of history when it comes to heart disease. So, my dad, my grandfather, and my great-grandfather on my dad's side all died of heart disease in their like late 30s, early 40s. So, all of that to say, I have been sort of monitored when it comes to my heart and different things.
Blood pressure.
Yeah. Like all those different things, cholesterol, whatnot. I've gone to see a cardiologist twice a year. So I go every 6 months to kind of keep up, So all that to say, another thing. My mom's side of the family sometimes deals with blood clots and stuff.
Yeah, there's a history there.
There's a history of blood clots. Yeah, my mom's side, not like too extensive, but there is some. Anyway, all that to say, a few months ago, like 6-7 months ago, I went to just go get a blood test to see if I had this sort of like blood clot disorder that my mom's side of the family has. And I went and I got it done, and I didn't have it, but they noticed that like this other blood level was high.
Can I jump in really quick?
Sure, yeah.
There was nothing that prompted him to get this blood test other than it was completely random.
Mm-hmm.
To like just his mom suggested like, or we found out. Oh, sorry, I'm totally butchering this.
No.
We were so grateful that his mom suggested that he get tested to see if he has it. Or did your mom suggest it?
She did, yeah.
Okay. So she suggested that you get this blood test to see if you have a blood clot. So it was completely random. I don't want to I just want people listeners to know the chain of events we went through.
Sure, I got you.
So, and I don't want anyone out there to freak out if they have a blood clot or whatever. The only reason we got this blood test done was because there was a family history and it's hereditary. So, I don't want to freak anyone out. And, because I know when I hear scary health stories, you want to know how they knew. So, this is kind of the first step. We knew it was a hereditary blood clot. And so Josh got tested.
Yeah. So right. Exactly.
There was nothing going on in his body. It was just a suggestion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
At this time.
That's a good thing to point out. Yeah. And at the time that I got the test done, my doctor was like, yeah, let me test you for a few other different things. You know what I mean? While we're doing this, So he tested me for the main thing that I was curious about, or that me and my family were curious about. And that was fine. That was low. Everything was fine. But there was another blood level that was high. It was one of the random ones that he said to get tested for. So at the time, it was just kind of oh, that's interesting. He suggested I go see a hematologist, and I didn't do that.
For the health professionals out there, can you say what those those things were?
So I was my family has a history of high factor V Leiden numbers. Like a factor V Leiden disorder, I think is what it's called. And so I got tested for that, and then I also got tested for factor VIII Leiden, which from what I understand is not a disorder as much as it's just it's a blood level in your body that actually fluctuates.
Right.
From what I understand, and factor V I think is just sort of set as what it is.
I think you're correct.
Yeah.
We're still learning about this
as
we go. So that's from what our understanding is. But yeah, just if there's any health professionals out there who were curious, they probably know better.
Yeah. So anyway, the factor VIII was high. And he was like, oh, you should go see a hematologist. And I was like, okay. But I never did. This was in August 2021. All this to say, November 2021 came around. And I started getting this really weird pain in my leg. And it felt kind of muscular. It felt like something I've felt before with sports. It felt like I strained something in my calf.
Can you say specifically where it was?
It was right on my calf, just below my knee, kind of going into the crevice of my knee, that area.
On the underside.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I didn't really think much of it for a few days. I just was oh, it's just a muscle strain is what I thought. And I was oh, it'll go away. And at the time I was working out and stuff, so I was I might just be that.
Correct.
So but after a few days it got worse, and I was this is weird. I'm not doing anything. I was purposely trying not to do anything. And I was this is weird. So the thought came to my mind oh shoot, I did have that weird blood level thing a few months ago. So maybe is this a blood clot? I wonder if it was a blood clot. And so we went to Patient First or Urgent Care right down the road, and they couldn't help us because they don't do that there. They don't check. They don't have a ultrasound.
I just want to jump in really quick. Sometimes a friend of ours told us that a healthcare professional friend of ours told us that sometimes this pain could be something what's called a Baker's cyst. So if you want to look up what that is, it's not gross or anything, but just to get a better idea of where the pain was. Cause yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, after that, we couldn't go to Patient First. So I waited till the next day. I went, got a script from my doctor to get an ultrasound on my leg, on my calf, that area. So the next day I went, got an ultrasound on my calf, and turned out that there was a DVT in my calf, which is a deep vein thrombosis. And yeah, it was, that was the reason why my leg hurt. And so what they did is they put me on blood thinners that night, immediately. They got they ordered a script for some blood thinners, and I went, I picked them up, and I took them that night. And so, yeah, that happened. But then the next day, I was at work, which is I work from home, so I was at my desk, and I started to feel like a kind of a weird pain in my chest, something that I hadn't felt before. And it was like on the right side of my chest, so not like my heart, which would have been, I think, scarier, but it was on like the right side of my chest. But it still made me kind of be like, oh shoot, I I should probably get this checked out. So I called my doctor.
Because blood clots in your leg can break off and move up to your lungs.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for saying that. Yeah. Yeah, so I called my doctor, and he wrote me a script for a stat CAT scan on my upper body. So I went to the hospital and got it done there, and they did the CAT scan, and they did find a few small blood clots in my lungs. So they admitted me to the hospital.
And it's called, when there's blood clots in your lungs, it's called a pulmonary embolism. And depending where they are in your lungs, it could be fatal.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know exactly the physiology, but like when you say pulmonary embolism, it's an emergency.
Yeah, it's an emergency. Yeah, because it can be fatal. Yeah, depending on, like you said, depending on where they are in your lungs. Yeah. So they admitted me to the hospital or to the ER right from there.
They told you, they were like, say you have a pulmonary embolism.
Yeah, because the waiting room was like crazy. It was like super packed. So they were like, you have to tell them you have a pulmonary embolism, and then they'll what's it called when
they'll admit you right away.
Yeah, that's called something.
Triage?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was triaged. That's what I was. And our cat is laying on the other couch. She's really cute.
Yeah, she's sleepy.
Yeah. Anyway, so I got triaged, and I was in the ER, and they put me on like some liquid blood thinner, so like on a drip.
IV.
Oh no, IV. Yeah, it was called heparin, and I was on that for a couple days in the hospital just to kind of like help. I think honestly the biggest thing for me in the moment was like my leg hurt really bad and my chest started to really hurt bad. So I was just like in a lot of pain. So they gave me like painkillers, and they were, had me on the IV blood thinners and whatever.
He wasn't in the ER for a couple of days. You were in the ER for a couple hours, and then they were able to get a room for you upstairs in the cardiology wing, I guess. And so, he was moved up there. So he had a room to himself. It was more comfortable than the ER because the ER was crazy. Like, shout out to all the ER nurses out there.
It was nuts. Yeah, it was
crazy.
Yeah.
So, thankfully that night we were able to get a room. He was able to get a room.
Yes, which was great. So, but all that to say, I mean, I was there for a couple of days, and then they let me go. And so, now I'm on blood thinners, and I see my hematologist. Actually, I have one tomorrow. I have an appointment tomorrow.
Nice.
So that was kind of the health scare. I kind of forget why we brought it up last week.
I know why.
Why?
It was because of happy hour. So the night you were admitted to the ER
yep.
Was the night my office was holding their first happy hour, and that was super convenient for me. So I said, nope, my husband has a blood clot, got to go. So it was super convenient.
Yeah.
But we had, just to get back serious for a second, we had so many people praying for us. Like, this was all to the glory of God that this chain of events happened the way it did. So it was all in his timing, and we couldn't be more grateful for that. So
yeah, there were a lot of people praying for us, which was really great, So I think like the reason I mentioned my dad's history, like my dad's side of the family's history, is because there was, I think when this event happened, not to get like crazy serious, but I'm about to get crazy serious. Yeah. But I think, there's always been a fear that, my dad, my grandfather, my great-grandfather never really got past their 40s, really. So there's been the fear that that's going to happen to me. And so, you know, this happened and it was like, like it's happening or it's going to happen. You know what I mean? And so, you know, it was scary. And even though I wasn't in even though it wasn't like a fatal situation, like the blood clots in my lungs were not in fatal areas. They were small. They were not in fatal areas. So I was going to be fine, you know. But still, just having that event happen it felt like the reality of what happened to my dad and happened to my grandfather and my great-grandfather. It felt like it was like happening to me, you know.
It was becoming a reality because up to this point, we knew family history was important, you know, for your health. And so it was theoretical. It was like, this could happen to you, this couldn't happen to you, or something along these lines. And it did, so it kind of like really made it real to us that, you know, you're at risk for something.
Yeah, exactly. So but with that said, it actually, I think, really turned out to be a blessing in disguise, because now I can go to a cardiologist or I can go to a hematologist or really any doctor, and I have like an event that happened that I can be like, oh, this happened to me and it was serious, so you need to pay more attention to me. It sounds bad. Not that
no, because up to this point you've tried cardiologists before the blood clot incidents, like in years past. You've tried since how old do you think, like 18, 20?
Or younger than that.
Even younger.
Yeah.
You try to go to cardiologists to try to get as early as possible of a start on this. And none of them would really take you seriously because, you know, it's all theoretical. I'm not going to get into that, but yeah, as you said, it was a blessing in disguise because this near fatal thing happened to you. I say near fatal because of the pulmonary embolism, and I say that because if they were in different spots, it could have been fatal. But this event happened to you, and now they see that on your history. You say that in your sessions, and it's like an immediate like wake up to them, because now they're liable.
Right.
But, you know, if any medical board was reviewing your case and they said you knew he had a history of a blood clot, you knew he had a history of a pulmonary embolism, why didn't you take this more seriously? Like, that's on them. So they know that. And, you know, and your hematologist, he is a really cool guy, and he really cares about,
he's great,
you know, your health. So I'm not trying to generalize all doctors.
No, of course.
But yeah, I think people understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I mean, I had experiences like Tori was saying where like I would go to a cardiologist, and the only thing I really had to present to them was like, oh, well, like I have this family history with my dad's side of the family, and a lot of them wouldn't really pay attention. And so now it's like I have my own history, essentially, you know, that I can bring to them, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm going to pay attention now. I do think that family history is becoming way more like a legitimate reason for people to be
it's much more heavily factored
for sure
into the current person.
I feel like even a few years ago, like 5-10 years ago, it was not like that,
right?
At least in my
at least in the cardiology world, like that's what you can base it off of.
In my experience. So but all that to say, I mean, I really do feel like it, you know, as excuse me.
You're good. Cough it out.
Yeah. You know, as crazy of a situation as it was, and as scary as it was, I do feel like it ended up being something that the Lord is gonna, you know, the Lord used in a good, positive way. And I think, you know, it ended up being kind of a good thing. Definitely.
I know our cat Charlie wants to be, she wants some attention right now. If you're watching on video and see a black cat crawl across the screen.
Say hi, Charlie.
I tried holding my microphone up to her face, hoping she would like meow or something. No. What was I saying? Oh, I was actually after the fact. I actually felt a huge sense of peace and relief, and that's all due to the Lord, because in my own strength I would not have felt that.
Yeah.
that something happened, because it kind of felt like it was something we were waiting for.
I know.
And we just didn't know when that was going to happen. Like, not a blood clot specifically, but a heart attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't even know. So we were just waiting for something. We didn't even know what we were waiting for.
No.
And which is really scary. And so yeah, it was just like, it's so weird to say, but I just felt so hugely relieved. Like, thank you, Lord. Like, you made I don't know. I can't even speak right now.
No. Yeah. No.
But something happened, and it was scary in the moment, but we knew you would carry us through.
Yeah.
And now we can like stop holding our breath in anticipation of something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm happy we told that story.
Me too.
And yeah, you have a better insight into our lives. And yeah, Josh is doing really well.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord wills, he will keep doing well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for everyone who prayed for us in that time. People I didn't even know were praying for us, and I found out later, and it was just such a huge blessing. So
yeah,
definitely, it's
Mm-hmm.
emotional.
I know it is emotional.
I know we laugh a lot and make jokes about it, but it's all a mask.
Yeah. No, it was tough. It was hard.
It was tough, and it's still tough.
Yeah, it still is. Yeah, but we trust the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. The guy's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will take a short break and come back to you in a moment.
Yep. All right, we're back.
We are back. We had to take a short hiatus, not because I was crying, of course, because we sold some tires and the guy was here to pick them up.
Yeah.
That sounds so fake, but it's real, I promise you.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we just got done talking about your health scare,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was an interesting segue, would be into other crazy health scare moments of your life, because Josh has an insane story from when he was in college.
Yeah.
And it is just worth hearing. Like, it is so crazy.
It is
and
crazy.
almost unbelievable, but I think it's such a good story that I wanted him to tell it.
Yeah. It's it was another, well, I mean, my health scare with the blood clot and the pulmonary embolism, that wasn't really like a near death experience by any means. But I feel like I kind of had a near death experience in college.
He really did. It's insane to hear.
Yeah. So, I was in college going into my freshman year. It's my first year of college. Wow, that's crazy. And I got like really sick out of nowhere. It was pretty early on in the semester, probably like, I think it was like mid-September, maybe even early September. It was pretty early.
Can you describe your symptoms?
It's crazy because I just had so many symptoms.
What initial symptoms did you have?
I think it was just like achy. My throat was killing me. Super achy. Yeah. I think those were kind of the main things. Was like,
were you fatigued?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I was exhausted. Oh yeah.
Did your sinuses hurt?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, basically everything hurt. Yeah.
Right. Did it feel like anything familiar to you? Like
no.
The flu or a cold or allergies or
no. I thought maybe it was like strep throat because my throat hurt so bad.
Yeah.
But for like, I was like really sick, and it lasted like a few days, and I thought like, oh, like I'll get over it eventually. But after a few days, I was not getting any better, and I kept going to school. I don't know why. This was back before COVID, when nobody really cared how sick you were.
So true.
Nobody cared if you came to class like super, super sick. So I don't know why. I think it was because my first semester in college, and I like.
You were a freshman?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry. You said that.
Yeah, so I wanted to like do well, so stupid. So
stupid.
Oh my gosh. Compared to my junior and senior year of college, where I basically never went to class.
We'll get more on that later.
Yeah. But no, so I tried going to class for like the first week of me being sick, and I was thinking to myself like, oh, I'll get better, and I just did not get better, and I was like, man, this really is bad. So I like went to go get some tests done, and like some blood tests done, and one of the doctors suggested, oh, it might be mono. So we got tested for mono. That came back negative. All the blood tests came back negative for like everything. Wow.
I just punched myself in the face with the mic. Thankfully, it's soft and it didn't hurt.
Yeah.
Strep came back negative.
It was like everything.
Everything was negative.
Yeah, they did the swab thing.
Yeah, everything. No flu, no anything.
It was like nothing. Everything
Nothing.
came back negative. It was insane. And so I was like, that is very weird. It was very stressful. And then I remember, I feel like this might have been like a week or week and a half into like me feeling this way. A friend of mine, actually, Tori's brother, who's been my really, really close friend for a very long amount of time, about 15 years or so. Yeah, something like that.
Shout out to Donnie.
Yeah, shout out to Donnie. He was coming home from college. I forget why. I think it was just for the weekend, if I remember correctly. Or maybe there was...
Was it like a fall break or something?
Maybe.
But
that doesn't sound right because I got sick like mid-September. Maybe they had... I feel like he came home for something, but I don't remember what it was.
Fall break, I didn't have one in my college. Don't let me get into that. But from what I understood from observing other people in college, I think it comes earlier than you think.
Really?
But we digress.
Yeah, whatever. He was coming home for the weekend, and I really wanted to see him. I really missed him. So I was waiting for him to come home.
You can say.
Yeah, I was waiting for him to come home at my girlfriend's house at the time. And it was like a few of us waiting. And so I was there waiting, and I was so sick. I was insanely sick. Like, it's laughable how sick I was. It was crazy. And I just like slept in their guest bedroom for however long.
Until Donnie would come.
And Donnie was running late because there was a lot of traffic and stuff. So I think he was supposed to get there like at 8 or 9, but he didn't end up getting there until closer to like midnight. And so he finally got there, and I saw him, and we like, oh, it was so good. I was so happy to see him. It was great.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, but then after that, I started getting this absolutely horrible migraine.
At the house still?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I needed to be driven home. And so I was driven home was it my car? I forget. But I was driven home. I couldn't even drive. It was horrible. And I remember my mom was there, and she gave me I had gotten migraines before. So I like took some sort of painkiller, I forget what it was, and put like a cold rag, like what you do for migraines. You know what I mean?
I've never had a migraine. I don't know what you do for migraines.
It's amazing that you haven't had a migraine.
I didn't know they. Okay, well, I'll talk about that later. Go ahead.
I mean, it's great that you haven't had a migraine.
I didn't know how common they were. I feel like a lot of people that I know get them.
Yeah, they are common. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, go ahead. So you're in horrible pain.
Yeah, so I was in horrible pain. Not only was I horribly sick, but I had this horrible migraine, and it was so bad. It was like one of the worst ones I had. So I try, I take all these painkillers, and I take a NyQuil, you know what I mean? And I have the thing over my eyes, the cold rag. And normally it would go away in like an hour or so, the migraine. But I woke up 3 hours later in just, oh man. My tiring you?
No. Actually, yeah.
Tori just let out a big old yawn. Yeah. No, but I was still in absolutely horrible pain. Like, my head was absolutely throbbing. I was in like horrible pain from being sick. So my mom was like, all right, we're going to the hospital. So she drove me to the hospital, and on the way there, I had to throw up. I think because it had to be from the migraine. So she let me out on the side of the road, and I threw up in somebody's backyard, and then...
Oh, my God.
It was crazy. I didn't realize it was somebody's backyard until...
You were absolutely delirious.
It was crazy. Anyway,
he thought he was in Narnia. Just kidding.
It was insane.
That's not true.
Well, I got to the hospital, and they gave me like this, I think it was supposed to be some sort of painkiller. Maybe, now that I think about it, I didn't even think about this. Wow. So they gave me this painkiller, and I had this super weird reaction to it, to where I could not stop moving. It was very weird,
Like you felt jittery.
very jittery, and I never felt anything like that before in my life. Like I was like I couldn't stop, and I was losing my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking
like
out.
if you stopped, you died in your head.
It was, well,
Not really.
I couldn't. I would sit there and like try so hard to not move.
Oh, like it took a lot of like muscle strength to not move.
It was so weird. It was very weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah.
Anyway, they had to give me this other drug that just like I barely remember anything after that.
Oh my god.
I remember getting an ultrasound on my like abdomen.
Abdomen.
Oh my gosh. Abdomen.
Abdomen.
Abdomen. Abdomen, yeah.
Abdomen, yeah.
And because my I forgot about this. My sides like really hurt. Like my abdomen really hurt. So they did an ultrasound on my abdomen, and that's the only thing I remember. I don't really remember anything else.
Tell them.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna keep going. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But so anyway, the results come back, and I don't remember this, but my mom told me later. They pulled her aside, and they were like, "Is your son like what is his lifestyle,
Oh my
basically?" They were like,
gosh.
"What does he do? Do you know about like?" They thought I had Hep C is basically what they thought.
Yeah, so they
Or
were
one of the
trying
hepatitises,
to
yeah.
like they were trying to get information if you were the type of person who would be doing drugs.
Yeah.
Um.
Or do something that would cause me to get hepatitis. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because my liver, I don't know much about the human body, but the only reason I know about this because of what happened to me is that there's this number called the bilirubin number, which is associated with, I think, the health of your liver or something like that. I could be wrong, but from what I understand, it's supposed to be like 50-ish, somewhere around there. My number was like 600.
Oh
My bilirubin number. And this was the other thing. I started to get jaundice. So my face was like all yellow.
Oh
my eyes were all yellow.
Your
yeah.
eyes?
Yeah. So they were like, yeah, he's in liver failure.
Oh my gosh.
So we really need to figure out what the heck is going on.
So yeah, they were asking your mom if she could
Yeah.
provide, and your mom was like, not at all.
Yeah. They thought it was like some sort of cancer maybe. They were
Yeah.
like throwing
Oh
crazy
my
things out
gosh,
there.
Your mom must have been so scared.
Yeah, she was nervous. So we went to a liver doctor maybe the next day or the day after that or something like that. And the doctor was like, "Oh yeah, you definitely have hepatitis." Like 100%.
Oh my gosh.
He was like, "I've never seen a guy so sure in my life."
Oh my gosh.
He was like, "Oh, for sure, this is hepatitis. This is like classic case of
From what I
hepatitis."
know about doctors is they never make like statements as matter of factly. They like to, which I understand, they like to, give you a couple different options, try
Yeah.
not to freak you out.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you, like for doctors, if they hear hooves, they don't think zebra, they think horses.
Exactly.
But this guy was like 1000%.
He was like, "Oh, you have hepatitis." He's like, "I don't know which one, A, B, C, whatever, however many there are." He was like, "I don't know which one, but you definitely have it, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
So I was like, well, that stinks.
Great.
So he still got me tested for all of them just to make sure, like blood tests. Well, sure enough, I get tested, all negative.
Oh my gosh. What was wrong with you?
So I think it was 4 weeks after I had started getting sick. I was horribly sick.
I can't believe the
For 4
hospital
weeks.
discharged you.
I think they just didn't know what else to do because they didn't know
Wow.
what was wrong with me.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They also saw my spleen was like whichever side that's on.
I think that's on your left
Yeah.
side.
I forget how big it's supposed to be. It's
pretty small.
I was gonna
I think
say.
it's like a. No one can see what shape I'm trying
No,
to.
yeah. Like the size of like
Like the
maybe a
Size of that,
baseball.
maybe a little. Like that lens cap, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Maybe
Yeah,
a
like
little bigger.
like a little smaller than a baseball. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mine they said was the size of a football.
A.
Like a NFL size football.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh!
They're
Like
like, "It is
an
huge."
a fully inflated football.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It was. Yeah. I remember being in so much pain.
That sounds extremely painful.
Anyway, 4 weeks later, after I think I tried getting blood work 4 or 5 times
Oh
at
my
this point, and
gosh.
everything was negative. It was insane. Finally, 4 weeks later, I got a blood test and I was positive for mono.
Mono, you
Freaking-
slut.
Oh gosh.
We know what you're thinking. Why did it take so long? Like, why was it negative all up until that
I don't
point?
know. Do you know?
Yeah, because your body wasn't producing antibodies.
Oh, right.
So, like, when you get sick, like with the flu or whatever, some type of virus or bacteria, they test you and they know what it is because of the antibodies your body sends to fight that sickness.
Right.
From what I know, that could be totally wrong, but I think that's what I remember you telling me or someone telling me.
That sounds right.
So
that would also make sense.
Yeah, like up to that point, your body wasn't fighting against the mono.
Nope.
It was just going into liver failure.
Yeah.
And so then whatever it was, the Lord like synapse your cells back into place, your immune system.
Yeah.
And it sent, the necessary things.
Yeah.
And from then on, you got better, right?
Yes. From then on, they gave me steroids.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. There was a reason why they didn't give me the steroids beforehand. I think
they didn't know what it was.
They didn't know what it was. So
steroids could have been useless.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So once they found out it was mono, they're like, oh, okay. And they gave me steroids. And from there, that's when I got better.
Yeah. They knew how to treat you and stuff.
Yeah.
How long after the steroids did you get better?
I mean, it still wasn't it was like another month.
Really?
I was sick.
Oh my gosh.
It was
terrible.
crazy. I remember.
And in college. Oh.
And in college, yeah. Luckily, I had really good professors who were sympathetic, which was nice. Yeah.
That is nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
Everyone is so lucky.
I know. One thing I do remember is my throat was coated in this yellowish white.
Like your tonsils.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely covered.
Like it's just white.
Yeah. I don't know
green.
It was disgusting. I don't know if you ever had like strep before or something like that, but like how you get like those little white dots.
Mm-hmm.
Or like
yeah,
when
like
you're sick.
dots or like straight. Like you could still see some pink through them.
Right. Yeah. No, in my case, it was
no pink.
No pink. Completely.
Snowy day.
Yeah. Greenish, yellowish, white. It was disgusting. Yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my breath smelled horrible.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It wasn't because I was brushing my teeth. It was
because you had I think mine was viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. A viral infection.
Yeah.
Funny story. Did you know that mono never leaves your system?
Yeah.
Did you know? Because you want to know how I found out?
Did you know?
From that mono never left Josh's system. How many years after did we start dating?
After I got sick. That's a good question.
What year was your freshman year? You were 2015, right?
It was 2013.
Freshman year of
college, yeah.
Oh, yeah, 2013. Sorry, 2015 was my first year of college.
Yeah.
2013, we started dating.
It was 5.5 years later.
5.5 years later, Josh and I start dating, and we share a first kiss. And 8 weeks after that first kiss, which is, totally unrelated, the incubation period for mono.
Mm-hmm. Totally unrelated.
Totally unrelated. I would say 6 to 8 weeks after that.
I think that's what they say, 6 to 8 weeks.
6 weeks after, approximately. I was so tired. I was in college. I was in my, what year was it?
It was 2019. It was you were a junior.
I was a junior. Okay. Yeah. My college years are kind of weird because I did nursing for a couple semesters, then I took a semester off. So whatever. I was in business school at this point, a junior in business school. And I am so fatigued. It's like the beginning of the year, January beginning of the year, like second semester. And I was like, I woke up and my eyes were like swollen every day. Not like swollen, but like a little swollen.
Mm-hmm.
And I just couldn't figure out, business school, it's not like nursing school. Like, there wasn't a reason for me to be so fatigued.
Yeah.
But I just, like, couldn't get enough sleep. I was so tired.
Yeah.
And then a couple days later, my throat started killing me. And I thought it was strep throat because I used to get strep throat a lot as a kid. So I thought it was strep throat. So I go to... we're dating, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like my throat hurts, whatever. And you look at my throat and it is white and green.
Yes.
Like that, like, is this sounding familiar to anyone?
Mm-hmm.
Like, my tonsils are, very sick. So, the next day,
lymph nodes.
Oh my gosh, that's what prompted this whole thing. My lymph nodes in my neck were so big, like bulging out of my skin. And I was so tired. That was the first clue. And then they started my lymph nodes started getting extremely swollen.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when, like, I have a picture. And if I leaned my neck back a certain way, it was humongous.
Yep. I remember you sent me the picture.
I sent him a picture of my lymph node.
And I could see it in the picture. You know how normally it's not something you those types of things you can't see through a picture?
Right.
I saw it. I was
okay,
whoa.
I'm going to look for that picture, and if I find it, I'm going to insert it into the video.
I think I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll insert it if we'll remember. And because it was just so crazy, and I was freaking out. I was like, Josh, it's thyroid cancer. Like, I looked up thyroid cancer, and I think I sent you pictures of the graphs that I found.
Yep. I was like, huh.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm freaking out. I couldn't get an appointment with my doctor. So I went to patient first, and I went to urgent care, and they tested me. I was like, it's not mono. It's not mono. For some reason, I was dead set that it was not mono.
Yeah.
And it comes back and it's mono.
Yep.
And so they gave me the steroids, but my throat was burning. It was so painful to talk, to swallow, to exist. I lived off of popsicles for 10 days. I couldn't eat anything else. This sounds kind of weird, but I would get a full popsicle, and I would try to stick it as far down as my throat as I could.
Oh, wow.
To ice my throat.
Yeah.
And then I would, bite, quote unquote, bite off a piece and just kind of try to let it sit on my throat as best I could. That's all I couldn't have any protein, any fat or good fat, any carbs.
It just hurts so bad to swallow.
It just hurts so bad. I couldn't get anything down. So I lived off the popsicles. That was kind of cool. But at the cost of the pain, it was not worth it.
No, not even close.
I am in school, and my school has a policy where you can't take any days off or else it affects your grade.
That is unreal to me.
Yeah, it was horrible. So I'm going to school this whole time. One day, it was so bad. I couldn't take it. I had one class that day. I emailed my professor. I have mono. I can't make it in today. He acknowledges my email. I get 5% taken off my grade.
Wait, it was 5% off your participation grade, right?
Sure, or my attendance grade or something.
Yeah, which was a certain percentage of your total grade.
Yeah.
But the point is, you got points taken off.
I got points taken off.
Yeah.
And I'm obsessed. I was obsessed with doing well in school.
Yeah, you were.
Because I have a good reason. Okay. I wanted to make my parents proud, and I just wanted to do well, and I wanted to prove to myself that I could do this major. Okay, that's a whole other topic.
I know, that's a whole other story.
As I'm talking about this, I'm realizing that's a whole other podcast. So anyway, so this boy right here infected me.
That was me.
And now it lives within me.
Yes, it does.
Beware. And we still get affected by it. Every so often, we'll get hit, with COVID, the COVID era. We're not really sure what's what anymore.
I know.
But
who knows?
pre-COVID, we would get, we would get hit every once in a while. I would never get sick before. Now my immune system isn't really the same. Your immune system definitely isn't the same.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Not at all. So we'll get hit with like fatigue and, you know, whatever. And I'm like, this is the mono just flaring up right now. It's so weird.
Yeah.
So that's my mono story and how college failed me in that moment.
Oh my gosh, dude. That is horrible.
I remember, I think you had to force me to take a day off because I was so obsessed with, you know, getting good grades. And
I think you know what, I know exactly what happened. I calculated your grade for you if you had skipped that class.
Josh did that a lot for me in college.
Did.
That was like the biggest expression of love for me.
I know.
Because
that's how I got you.
That's how you kept me.
That's how I kept you,
yeah. That was such a big expression of love. Like when I'm kind of getting emotional thinking about it. I don't know this, like I've never gotten emotional about this before. I'm still raw from like the blood clot story. I know. But when I would just be so stressed out and like so freaked out like about my grade, Josh would calculate my final grade for me if I had skipped an assignment or skipped a class, and he would assure me that way that I would be okay.
Yeah.
I was like crying.
I know.
This is crazy. And he would assure me that it would be okay and that I can, you know, give myself a lot of grace in those moments. And yeah.
I remember times when you like were really stressed out about a final and you wanted to like stay up later to study for it, or like something that I think I viewed it as like in the moment. I understand staying up late to study for something, you know, if you need to, but I think with how well you were already doing in the class, I would just calculate like what you need to get on the final in order to not get an A.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was always like a 30%. I was like, Tori, as long as you score over a 30%, you're going to get an A in the class.
Yeah, that's true. And that would give me so much assurance.
Yeah.
Like I remember one time I was working really hard. I had an economics class and we had to do a homework assignment, you know, whatever. And every week or every, you know, class night, because class was like 3 times a week or whatever. And I was staying up really late. You were with me at our kitchen, my parents' house, in our like homework area, and I was just so stressed out about this homework assignment, and it was worth 10 points, like such a little amount. But I was just such a perfectionist, and I wanted to get it done, and I wanted to get it done well. And you, like, this always sticks out to me. You were like, Tori, go to bed. Like, it was so validating to hear, like, an outside person, like, just looking in on the situation from someone who's been there. Like, say, you can go to bed. Just skip it. Like, you don't have to do this perfectly.
Yeah.
And it was so effective. And I was like, okay. And I did, and I went to bed, and I missed the assignment, and it was fine. The world didn't end.
Yeah.
My world didn't end. Yeah. I was still okay. Like that. Yeah, that was really great.
Yeah.
I am raw. What the heck?
Oh no.
Yeah, that was just such an expression of love. And I think you did that for a lot of your friends. Like when you guys were in college, like would you calculate stuff for them?
I would just do it all the time for myself.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I was actually like in danger of failing classes.
Okay, that brings us to Josh's college experience.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, so I've made it sound like I'm a horrible student this whole time. So I wasn't a horrible student. I just majored in a difficult major.
Yeah, 1000%.
Yeah. So I went to college for actuarial science, which is, for those who don't know, is the major that you can go to school for to become an actuary, which is somebody who basically they do like risk management for mostly insurance companies, but they do it for a lot of other different things.
Heavily mathematical.
It's very, very mathematical. Yeah. So a ton of different formulas, very complex formulas, all these different things, you know. And I went to Penn State for it, which at the time was the number 2 school in the country for actuarial science. Yeah. So they had like a very, very high standard of excellence that they were trying to maintain. And, you know, like, I think it was something crazy, like, 800 students, in one class do this major. And I think I graduated with, I think it was like 75 people, maybe 90 people.
From 800?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah,
my
yeah.
gosh. What's
people,
that percentage?
I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
10%, something like that. But no, people would either drop out because it was too hard and they didn't feel like it, or they would just fail out. It was one of those.
Oh my gosh, that's terrifying.
So all that to say, it was a very difficult time to, like, I had to pass classes. So what I was saying earlier, how I would never go to class, I would never go to the classes that I didn't have to go to that were like non-actuarial.
Because you were spending the time
yeah
doing stuff for your actuarial classes.
Exactly. That I was barely passing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember these exams were like, the class average was like 40.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And they would like, sometimes they wouldn't curve it, but most of the times they would curve it. You know what I mean? So
right.
like, if the average was 40, then they would curve it so the average was like 70. You know what I mean? Or whatever. And then that would be your score. So, but I remember one time, oh my gosh, it was my first exam. So I did 2 years here at Abington. Oh wait, there was something I wanted to say in association with what you were saying. Oh, about how like you could not skip any classes.
Yeah.
Which is, if I was like that, I wouldn't have passed. There was no way.
Just based off attendance grades alone.
No. What I mean is, like, I wouldn't have been able to spend the time on my actuarial classes.
Right.
If I had to go to my other classes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would just skip all those classes and like.
I wish I could do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Hot tip for you, college prospects out there, your high school graduates out there. Make sure there isn't you won't get punished for attendance because you're a grown adult and you should be able to prioritize what you need to prioritize.
Yeah. I was very fortunate to have that ability. Yeah, definitely. But all this to say, I remember, so what I did is I did 2 years at one of the Penn State satellite campuses. I actually did it here in Abington. And then I did my final 2 years up at the main campus. So in my first 2 years here at Abington, I didn't really take any actuarial classes. I took some statistics classes and things like that. But I did
and stuff.
Yeah, and I did well. I think it was a high GPA, like 3.8 or something like that. I did really well. And then I got to main campus, and I remember thinking, "Oh yeah, okay, here I am. Like this is it. Like I'm doing it." And I remember I had my first actuarial class, and I was taking it, and I had the first exam, and I studied for it like I had normally studied for exams. You know what I mean? I probably had spent a few days on it, a couple hours a day for the few days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I had done for basically all other exams in my life. I take the exam and I finish it up, and I remember thinking like, oh, I don't know how I did. Maybe I did okay. You know what I mean? I get it back. I got a 15%.
Oh my gosh, that is 15%.
That was the uncurved. That was the uncurved score. My curved score was a 33%.
Oh, 33.
He had listed, it was a huge class. It was like 400 people or something like that. But he had listed, I can't believe he did this. He listed all of the scores, not by person, but it was by like, I think he just listed all the scores and then just so he could show like what the average was, what the median was, max, min, things like that. And I was like in the bottom 5.
Oh my gosh, that's a terrible feeling.
And oh, dude, yes. I was very upset. I was like, I'm not cut out for this. And I remember thinking, well, the rest of the semester, I am not going to do anything else other than just try to pass this class. So
That's very admirable that you didn't just drop out then and there.
That's true. I guess I could have.
That would have been the time.
Yeah. I think I knew that I could do more because I studied, but I didn't study like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You didn't realize the extent to which you had to study.
No, I didn't realize
this
that
gave you some perspective.
Yeah. I didn't realize like he would give you the exam date like a month in advance. Not not to just put something on the schedule, but like so you could start studying then. You know what I mean? It was like
Yeah.
one of those things. Yeah. So it was just insane. It was like so much memorization, so much like it was nuts. It was insane. So anyway, I like really hit a point in that semester where I was like at like the lowest, or at least at that time, the lowest that I could think of. I had taken another exam in that class and I think I got like a 50. It was like,
Oh.
which actually I think curved ended up being like a 70 something. And to pass this class, you needed a 70 for point of reference.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just so discouraged. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I'm so dumb. Like,
Oh.
I can't believe I tried doing this. Like, what was I thinking?
Because then you can, and that's horrible because you can also compare yourself to all the other students in the class. Like, how can they be doing so well?
Yes.
And I
Like, what am I
can't-
missing?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I must be missing something. Because, like, I'd always been pretty good at math. And so when all of this happened, it
You've
made
been
me...
stellar at math.
Yeah.
His brain is unbelievable. Like, it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'd always done really well in math.
He's an incredible mathematician.
Thank you very much. I
You're
appreciate
welcome. No,
But-
you're underselling yourself. You are an incredible mathematician.
Well, I mean, during this time, I was thinking, like, oh, I must not be that good at it. I must be, like... I just must not be that good. Because, like, I'm getting these scores and everybody else is getting, like, these really good scores.
Like, I was good for my small town high school, but not for my big town college.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You were a small fish in a big lake.
Exactly.
word?
Yeah. Big pond, yeah.
Big pond. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I remember I was at a really low point, and I remember talking to one of my friends that I had actually just met that semester at college.
Shout out.
And shout out Jaden if he's listening. Yeah. I remember I was walking with Jaden through campus, and I was going to class, and so was he. And I remember telling him my situation and being like, man, like, I just feel like I'm screwed. Like, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to drop out. And he, like, turned to me and he's like, you know what, man? I don't know how to explain it, but things just work out. That's basically all he said.
I love that.
He was like, things just have a way of working themselves out. He's like, even if you don't pass, it's going to work out, is basically what he said. And I was just like, wow. I don't know. It was like the most comforting thing he could have said.
Yeah. Like, no pressure.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think what he meant, correct me if I'm wrong, is it'll either work out where you'll begin passing and it'll be great, or it'll work out where you will fail out, or it gets to the point where you need to switch majors, and you will, and that'll also be fine.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like exactly
You're
what I
more
needed to hear.
than what you're more than this major.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I was like, wow, that was pretty amazing. And I felt really encouraged. And I remember from then on out, I just would like really commit so much time to this class. And
You
trying
were
to pass
also
the
working
exams.
during this time, correct?
I was as a lifeguard, yeah.
As a lifeguard, yeah.
So so I just like studied my darn butt off. And I remember I started to get like progressively better. They had like this guy would give out like quizzes, and then they would have the exams and stuff. And I remember on the final, I needed a 97
Oh my
on the final
gosh. And
to pass
how
this
many
class.
tests were there a semester?
I think this class had 4.
And then the 5th was the final?
Yes, that sounds right.
Okay.
It was something like that. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I had not come not even remotely close to that number. I think the best I did was like a 75. Curved. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we get to like a few weeks before the final, and he's like, hey, listen, I'm going to make the final a little different format. I'm going to make it multiple choice,
Ooh.
which is like weird to do
Bless this professor.
with like a math class. You know what I mean? Normally it's like a problem solving format and you could do it that way. He was like, I'm going to do it multiple choice, and there's only going to be 10 questions. And I was like,
That's either amazing or horrible.
well, right. But like, it was like the best chance I had to getting that 97. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I studied so hard, and I was like, I have to get 100. Like, there's no other way. I have to get all 10 questions right.
Right.
I go in. I remember being so stressed out.
Probably
And
sleep deprived.
Yes. Oh, I was exhausted. But I remember drinking a ton of coffee, and I got in there, And I remember it was at nighttime. It was a night exam.
Oh, okay.
That was, at least in my experience, I had a bunch of those where like you had to like schedule the exam online. You could take it on certain days. You could take it at certain times.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. It
Oh.
wasn't during class time.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's way different from my experience.
I know. Yeah, no, it wasn't during class time. You
Yeah.
would have to do it that way to where you schedule it and stuff.
Okay.
So I remember scheduling at a nighttime because I wanted all day to study beforehand.
Smart.
And yeah, and so I did that and I got to the exam and I took it and I was like one of the first ones done. And I remember thinking this is either really good or really bad.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
I hated being the first one done.
Yep. And I remember thinking that I felt really confident about all of the questions, but I
Good.
was I was like, what
But
if
that's
I'm
also
being-
like terrible because
what if I was wrong?
What if you were wrong?
Exactly. So I was like, okay, well, here we go. And I submitted it, and a couple days later, got it back 100%. Got 100%.
Did you cry?
I was very emotional.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, and I passed the class with you could round up, so it was like a 69.6 or something like that. I rounded up, yeah, because that was literally the only way I could make it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think a 97 would have put me at a 69.5, so I could round up. Yeah, so I got 100 and I got a 69.6 or 69.7
And
or
that
something
was
like that.
sufficient to pass the class.
Yeah, because he would round up. Yeah.
To 70.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That was so intense.
Yeah, it was insane.
Oh
it was
my
bonkers.
gosh.
Well, okay, sorry. I have one more thing I want to say. Yeah.
Take as long as you want.
So the next semester, that was my junior year. My senior year, fall semester, I was taking 2 actuarial classes. One of them was more like conceptual. It was more an understanding of this particular class was life insurance.
Okay.
But it was still like I had to pass or I failed out of the
Yeah, you couldn't
major.
graduate as an actuary major if you did not pass this
Yeah,
class.
at least not that year. So all that to say.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So I was taking these 2 actuarial classes. One of them was conceptual. The other one was like similar to what I was just explaining, like very mathematical, a lot of memorization, blah, blah, blah. And I remember that one was like probably one of my best classes, actuarial classes that I took.
The life insurance.
No.
Oh.
The other one.
The other one. Okay.
I was doing really well. For whatever reason, the formulas just like made sense to me. And I think at that point, I had really learned how much I needed to study.
That's the most important to know.
Definitely. And how far in advance I had to study.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You got a system down.
Yes. I had
That's
a system
a good
down.
feeling.
And my expectations were like in line. You know what I mean?
Good.
Like I knew it needed to be done. And so.
You stopped putting the pressure of like perfect 100.
Yep.
And you said, no, what's perfect for me right now is
Passing
70. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. No.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. And so I feel like that was the case for most people was that they weren't going for like the perfect score. They were just trying to pass.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it actually was kind of nice because you could kind of band together with the other students and like, yeah, because you all had the same goal.
It wasn't worth competing with the other students.
No. I mean, there was always like that one person who was like ridiculously smart.
Right.
Yeah. So, and they would get like 90s and stuff.
That's so frustrating.
I know. Yeah. I just like accepted like I'm just not in that league and I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
It's
that's
whatever.
amazing.
Yeah. Like we'll probably end up with the same job anyway.
Honestly, that's the biggest takeaway from college is you'll probably end up with the same job.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so I was taking this one actuarial class, which was more mathematical. I think it was called RM 440 or something like that.
Even the name
I think this was risk management 440. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was like formulaic in the name.
No. Risk management. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
I think we'll call it RM 440. I don't remember what it's called, but
Okay.
RM 440. And I was taking this other class, which I remember it was RM 430, which is the life insurance class. So I was doing this life insurance class and I was struggling. I was like, what in the world? Like it was different than any of the other actuarial classes I had taken. It was all conceptual.
That's interesting.
And I've never really been good at like the conceptual reading comprehension stuff.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah. I've always struggled with that. So I was like not doing well in that class.
Yeah.
I was failing a lot of the exams, failing a lot of quizzes, even though I was like studying for them. I just like couldn't get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I remember by the end of the by the end of the semester, I had a 67. I needed a 70 to pass. And I had 2 more like graded projects left. So one of them was a big group project. That was a big percentage of our grade. And it was like really big. And the other one was our final exam. So we had the group project first. And I was so lucky. I got paired with probably the best people in the class.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and it worked out so well. I think I did not do a lot of the project.
You were that guy.
I was that guy. I really was that guy.
I can relate to those other people.
And it wasn't that I was trying to be that guy. I think I was just, they just knew way more than I did.
Yeah, and I feel like at that point, they were probably the type of people who knew what it took to pass and wanted to control that
100%.
as best they could.
100%, yeah. So we ended up getting like a 98 on the project.
That's amazing.
It was amazing, yeah. And that bumped my grade up, which was nice. I think it bumped it to like a 68 or 69. It bumped it up like, it might have been 69 because it might have been 2 percentage points.
Nice.
And so on the final exam, I calculated it out. I needed a, I want to say it was a 70. I think I needed a 70 on the final to pass the class. It was something like that.
Right.
We'll call it 70, something like that. And so I go and I take the final exam. I studied like crazy for this freaking exam.
Is this the exam where you fasted?
Yes. Yes, it was. So
elaborate on that, please.
yeah, a friend of mine, shout out Jake Linetti.
So many shout outs this episode. I love it.
I know, yeah. I had called him that week and I remember being really stressed out thinking like, oh man, I need a 70 on this exam. And I had not gotten a 70 on an exam in that class that semester. So it was going to be similar to the previous year.
It would take an act of God.
Yeah. So yeah, literally. So I remember talking to him. He's like, maybe we should just like fast for a couple days.
That's
or maybe
amazing.
it was just the day. I think he was like, let's just fast for the day.
Oh yeah, like a couple of days.
Yeah. No,
That
he
would've
said
been
for the day.
intense. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
He's like, and we'll pray together before and after. And I was like, wow, that's really sweet of you, man. Like I would really appreciate that. So we did that. And I remember when I went and I took the exam. And I'd eaten first and then I went and I took the exam. And or maybe I'd taken the exam. No, there's no way I would have fasted on the same day of the exam. There's no way. I didn't do that. I think I fasted and then the next day or something like that I took the exam. Took the exam. And a couple days later, the grades came out. And I got a 65.
Oh.
And I remember thinking, I failed.
Oh man.
I failed out. Like, that's it.
I didn't know you got a 65.
Oh, yeah, I didn't get it.
Oh my gosh.
I remember just thinking, I went to my, who's the person, your
academic advisor?
Yeah, my advisor. And I remember telling her, like, I failed. So, like, what are my next steps, basically?
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what to do next. And so I talked to her and she gave me all these next steps I could do, which is great. And yeah, so I had like these next steps that I could take, but I was still like so bummed.
You made it so far.
Yeah, I made it so far. It was my senior year. And she did say like I don't know, she gave me a bunch of steps that I could take, but I was like not, it was hard to think about any of those things in the moment. So anyway, that was a few days later though, our final grades came out. Do you know what I mean? Like that was my final exam grade. And I had calculated my final grade using like all of this stuff. And it turned out being like a 60, I don't remember, 68 or something like that.
Yeah, just still not enough.
Yeah, which is, fail. So a few days later, my final grades came out. So it was like the class grade. And I remember looking through and on my life insurance class, RM 430, I saw C, which was passing. And I was like,
that's not possible.
And so, like, I, like, reached out to my professor.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, basically just making sure it wasn't a mistake.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to be for sure that I was actually seeing what I was seeing.
Right.
And it wasn't, like, some sort of mistake. So I reached out to him, and he emailed me back. He was like, yeah, I gave you the C.
Oh, my gosh.
I started crying.
Oh.
I was weeping.
Why did he do that?
He gave all these different examples. I think he was trying not to make it seem like he was doing it. You know how like I think he liked me.
Okay.
That's not what he said.
Like liked you or
No, I think he liked me as
kidding.
like a student. I think he appreciated, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but he didn't say it like that. He said, like, what did he say? He said, I mean, he was like, you worked really hard this semester, and like, I saw how much effort you put into like making sure
he
you
had to be careful about what he put into writing.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
So he couldn't say I liked you as a person because that's like favoritism.
I think, yeah.
That could come back and bite him.
Yeah, I feel like the things he said were things he could have just said to anybody.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
But you read between the lines.
Yeah, maybe he actually meant what he was saying, but like, yeah, he said it had these couple of reasons for it, and yeah, I got to see, and I was weeping. I was weeping. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you graduated, and you're doing so well now in your job.
Yeah, which is not actuarial.
That is so funny.
Yeah. No, I did the actuary thing for a few years, and then I was like, I'm over it.
Yeah. There's a lot of tests and continuing education, but just a lot of exams you have to take to reach certain levels of actuary, and then your pay kind of rises with each exam that you pass.
Yeah, it's a very interesting career path.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, because you have to take these tests that are given by the state in order to basically show that you know stuff.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get paid more based on how many exams you pass. Yeah.
Right.
So.
I know we should be finishing up soon, and I just want to tell one story.
Okay. Yeah.
Of a time I cried in college.
Yes.
And there are numerous times I've cried in college.
Yeah.
Numerous. But one that sticks out to me is when I was in business school, and I went to a commuter school. And as you know, commuter schools, parking spots are rough. Parking is rough in any college, but especially obviously in a commuter school, because the majority of students don't live there. So I had this, what class was I in? It was like business finance or something, and I was doing well in it, whatever, but I remember I think I woke up late and I had an exam that morning. I probably woke up late because I stayed up all night studying for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I pulled a lot of all-nighters in college. And so they had recently made this rule. So there was, on campus, there was student parking, and then there was faculty parking. And a lot of students just parked in faculty parking because they were open. And especially in the one building, it was right next to the building instead of walking like 0.2 miles to the building. So it was a cold, rainy morning. And
oh, I remember this.
Did you not know the story before?
I was like curious what the story was gonna be.
Yeah, this was rough. So I'm driving to school, and I'm driving into campus, and I go towards the faculty parking lot because I'm so late for my exam. Like, I think I'm pulling into school at the same time my class starts, and I'm so stressed out. And I, like, by the time I walk to class, I just know like class will be over. I don't know, like, not really, but I would have like 10 minutes to take my exam.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the faculty, and I'm just like in survival mode. So I see a security guard follow me in their security van. And I'm like, oh no, like, I know what he's going to tell me. So I pull in and I get out, and he's like, hey, you can't park here. This is faculty only. And I'm like, okay. And I burst into tears. Like, that's when it all hit me. And I was like, can I just please park here for a little bit? I'll move I just have to go in, and I have to take a test. I'm so late. And like, I wasn't trying to put on an act. This was just like sleep deprivation and like malnourishment and like stress all in one.
Yeah.
And I'm just bearing my soul to this poor guy who does not know what to do with me. And he's just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened, because they were so strict about this. He was like, okay, you can go in and take your test. Like, because he was like, because as I was like crying, he was like, I'm sorry, like you have to
Move.
park somewhere else. You have to. And I'm just like, I just keep going. I'm like, please, like just like ugly tears.
Yeah.
And he, oh my gosh, he was just, shout out to the security guard.
Yeah.
He was just like, okay, yeah, go in, take your test. I was like, okay. I was like, I promise, I'll move as soon as the class is over. Because I think maybe actually an hour and a half after the class, I had another class.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I promise I'll move. I promise. So I went in and I took my test. I think I was the first one done. And I did really well. I got like 100. Yeah. yeah. It was great. I did really well.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Yeah.
It was so worth it. So that was a low moment in my business school.
Yeah, your business school.
Maybe in another episode we'll talk about my lowest moment in nursing school.
Oh my gosh.
Not too early before that.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's a long story.
We'll open with that in the next episode.
Okay, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I like how we kind of can continue.
Yeah, that's
with
cool.
With references in the next episodes and stuff.
Me too.
So yeah. But that was a low moment for me. And I really resonate with what Jaden said, was that everything will work out. Like, obviously, I really felt like the Lord was with me in that moment. But if I had not made it to class on time, if any of my worst fears had happened, it would have been okay. Like, yeah, college was rough for Tori and for all of us. I think we all had rough moments in college. So
that's why we wanted to tell these stories.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Yeah.
I hope so, in a weird way, that a lot of people can relate to this.
Yeah.
But so that brings us to the end of this bear attack episode. And we can't wait to talk with you guys next week. Thank you again for listening on Spotify and Apple and on YouTube if you prefer to watch it there. And so we'll see you guys next Friday.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
All right. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.